keep my head up, and you will end this.
I'm just getting warmed up. This is Von Clausewitz shit. Total fucking war. I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down. It's gonna be biblical.
Hei og velkommen til en liten shorty nå etter nyåret. Så vil jeg bare takke alle for bidrag og donasjoner. Det har vært overveldende. Det setter vi pris på, og at dere setter pris på den jobben vi gjør. Og tema, det er advokat. Nei takk. Så har du noe du vil si om introen for spillerne?
Ja, idag kommer vi bara visa ett kort klipp. Det här är ett gammalt klipp. Det vi sysslar med är också gammal kunskap. Det är ingenting som har förändrats. Men det är ett klipp med George Gordon där han är ganska bra utvecklar tanken på varför man inte ska ha advokat och vad som faktiskt sker när man väljer advokat och var dess egentliga lojalitet sitter. Så det är väldigt viktigt att tänka på när man blir, alltså, väljer att ha advokat, att man blir en klient. Och då ligger inte förstahandslojaliteten till oss, utan George Gordon kommer klart och tydligt demonstrera det här och visa det här, var den ligger. Så att jag rekommenderar skarpt att följa och se det här klippet efteråt som kommer.
Yes, da spiller vi av klippet.
Yes.
Let me give you a little introduction to the attorney-client relationship, because attorney-client relationship, you ever heard of a power of attorney? It's a legal term, isn't it? A power of attorney. A client, you ever heard of a client and an attorney? Attorney-client privilege, attorney-client relationship. Well, a client is one who applies to a lawyer or a counselor for advice and direction in a question of law, or commits his cause to his management in prosecuting a claim or defending against a suit in a court of justice. A person who hires an attorney says in effect that I'm a legal incompetent and I'm unable to manage my legal affairs. When you need a doctor, you go to the doctor and you sign an admittance form, you go into the hospital and you appoint the doctor as the guardian of your medical affairs. You went in, you got a license, and you said, well, I'm not competent, so I need a guardian to manage some aspect of my life. You go to a bank, you open a bank account because you're incompetent and unable to manage your financial affairs. What would the world be like if we became competent? What if you could handle all of your own financial affairs? What would you need a bank for? What if you could handle all of your own marital affairs? What would you need a marriage license or the state for? What if you could handle your legal affairs? What would you need an attorney for? Could you imagine the chaos and the unemployment that would occur if everybody in America became competent? We wouldn't need any banks, we wouldn't need any lawyers, and we wouldn't need any doctors. We wouldn't need any hospitals or any nurses. We wouldn't need any legal secretaries or judges. We wouldn't need any courts or judicial process. My God, that's unimaginable, isn't it? The bottom line is a client, see, one who communicates facts to an attorney expecting professional advice. Clients are also called wards of the court in regard to their relationship with their attorneys. I tested this one time. I tell on myself here. I was sitting in court, and this fellow was on the witness stand, and he wasn't telling all the truth. Remember, he swore an oath and he said, I'll tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. This guy was telling some inaccuracies, so I nudged my attorney and I said, now you examine him on that point. And Bickle looked over at me and he patted me on the shoulder and he said, got everything under control. And so pretty soon he lied some more, and so I pushed him again. No, write that down. You question him on that point. He's lying about that. Bickle, he'd pat me on the shoulder and he'd said, everything's under control. I've got everything scoped out. And so pretty soon the opposing attorney finished with the witness and he excused him. And I became so distraught because my own attorney over here, now get this, I pay this guy $6,000 a year. Now when you hire some guy and he's working for you and you tell him, you know, dig a ditch and he goes over and goes to sleep, or you tell him repair this fence and then he goes over and milks the cow, or you tell him to clean the barn and then he goes down and he mows hay, what would you do with an employee like that? So you'd get angry, wouldn't you? And you'd want to fire him. Wouldn't you want to say something to him? Wouldn't you want to kind of nudge him a little bit? Tell him what he's doing wrong? Well, that's what I did. Only I got so distraught, I jumped up and I said, I object! And about that time, the judge just came unhinged. You ever watch this? And he, Mr. Gordon, you're out of order! I'll hold you in contempt! Your attorney will speak for you. Well, I hadn't been talked to like that since I was 5 years old and interrupted my daddy talking to one of his barroom buddies. And he said little boys should be seen and not heard. And that's what that judge told me. He said clients should be seen and not heard. Your attorney, who's going to manage all of your legal affairs. But my attorney wasn't doing a very good job of managing my legal affairs. I had the same problem with the banks. You know, those guys didn't manage my money the way I thought it ought to be managed. One day I woke up and I thought, well, since I'm unhappy with the way Johnston's taking care of my money here in the Bank of Idaho, I think I'll just draw all my money out of the bank and manage it myself. And I've been happy as a clam at high tide from that day to this. When I fired Bickle, it was a wild new step for me, and now I'm going to have to go in and defend myself. But I couldn't do any worse than this guy sitting next to me collecting $6,000 who doesn't even cross-examine a lying witness. I mean, the worst that could happen is that I'll just sit there like a bump on the log and I don't have anybody to look over to, but I can say I got everything under control. I got everything scoped out. I don't have to question anybody or say anything. I'll just sit here and save $6,000. His first duty is to the courts and the public. This is the attorney. Here's your attorney's first duty. His first duty is to the court. Remember, he's an officer of the court. And his second duty is to the public, and his third duty is to his client. So if you want to know where you come in when you hire an attorney, it's third. And whatever the duties and wherever the duties to his client conflict with those that he owes as an officer of the court in the administration of justice, the former must yield to the latter.